I'm Kelly Siegel, and this is Harder Than Life, a podcast about self-love, self-awareness, business, and health. We tell outrageous stories and boil everything down to simple, practical advice you can start using today. Let's get living. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another empowering episode of the Harder Than Life podcast. Today we have a guest whose life mission embodies everything this show stands for: ownership, transformation, and living life on your terms. Justin Roethlingshoefer is not only, that's easy enough for me to say, by the way, it's not only the co-founder of groundbreaking Own It Coaching, a multiple seven-figure company, but also a man who has redefined how leaders and high performers approach health and wellness. Don't I know this? With a rich history as a performance coach in both the NCAA and the NHL, Justin has taken the cutting-edge ecosystem once reserved for elite athletes and made it accessible to leaders everywhere. That's what we're going to talk about today. Through his revolutionary approach to testing, technology, and coaching, he's transformed hundreds of thousands of lives across the country, making health not just achievable, but deeply personal. Justin is also a USA Today bestselling author of 3 books, including The Power of Ownership, and the host of the Own It Show podcast, where he continues to inspire, educate, and empower his audience. Today, we're diving into his journey, the power of taking ownership, and how his work is shaping lives. Justin, welcome to the Harder Than Life podcast, and let's own it.
I love it, man. So good to be here, Kelly. And again, I just honor you for, I know we got to spend some time together in person up in Jacksonville, and it was just so great to really just lean in with you and start to know the man behind the microphone, the man behind the personal brand, and just to really just spend a lot of time with you. So it's great to be here.
Thank you. And thanks for coming quickly. What I love about life, social media, and podcasting is we didn't get enough time to chat. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to get to know you. I know you as much as we chatted for a few minutes, as well as knowing that, like attracts like. We were both at the same event. So, winners attract winners, and we're going to get into it. So I found you very fascinating. And when I was doing the show prep, I'm like, whoa, as you could hear with my long intro, you do so much. So talk to me about what inspired you to create the Own It Coaching, and how does it stand apart from other health performance programs?
It's a great question. I mean, I go back through my life, and at 8 years old, if you asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, I would say I was going to be a part of the redemption story of the health of America. That's what I would tell my teams. That's what I would tell my teachers. That's what I'd tell my parents, and everyone would be like, yeah, okay, cool. From an 8-year-old, like, what does that actually mean? And you fast forward, and it's so ironic the way that God uses you, right? Where what you are called for, you actually have to walk through valleys in order to ultimately step into. And for me, I grew up a fat kid. Couldn't figure it out, was athletic, but grew up fat, was made fun of all the time, was left out a lot of things. And my parents tried their very best. They tried to figure everything out. They even put me in a study for fat athletic kids and tried to figure out what was actually going on. Could you be fat and fit at the same time? Well, that whole experience for me led to me being an anorexic kid through my teenage years. And just had a deep issue with understanding my body. Like, I was like, man, if I'm not fat, then I'm anorexic. If I'm not anorexic, then I'm fat. I had this deep fear that came in. I didn't understand anything that the doctors were saying. I remember going to a lot of different specialists, and I felt gaslit in every single room I went into. Everything that I was being told was very confusing. It was very convoluted. And this is where my dyslexia, ADD, and OCD tendencies that many people would tell me were a curse, became a massive gift for me, because I just dove deep into the books. I dove deep into the data. At 13, 14, I was measuring heart rate variability, sleep quality, looking at brainwave states, reading medical journals. I could recite the glycemic index back to you. Like, I really became obsessed with this whole health thing. And I say all of this to say that it's the blessing that brought me down to the States, was on a hockey scholarship, got a couple undergraduate degrees in exercise science, nutrition, did my master's degree, did a lot of postgraduate research, trying to understand this even at a deeper level. And it wasn't until I did my massage therapy license that I was like, my gosh, everything in the body is holistic. Everything in the body is integrated. Everything in the body comes back to the cell. And I say all of this because I was always the why guy. I always wanted to ask why. Why is this happening? Why is this truth? Why should I listen to you? Why should I take this as this is the answer? Because everything I learned in school was actually the opposite of what got me well, was actually the opposite of what I experienced when I was fat, the opposite of what I experienced when I was anorexic, the opposite I was experienced through my healing process. And so on this journey, I ended up finding myself, because I was the why guy, I was the data guy, I was data driven, I was evidence based, found myself in the NCAA, really driving transformational work in personalization and getting great results. Found myself then in the NHL doing the same thing. And it was at that moment that I was the fittest I'd ever been. I'd felt great. But on the inside, I knew something was wrong. I knew I didn't feel the way that I should based on the way that I looked. Six-pack abs, had just finished a triathlon, was competing and going to the CrossFit Games. And I was exhausted all the time. I'd fall asleep. I couldn't stay asleep. My testosterone levels were low. And I was like, man, something's not right. And again, I experienced the exact same thing. Going to doctors, feeling gaslit, being told it was all in my head, being said, hey, your testosterone's low. Here's some testosterone therapy for you. We'll put you on that. I was like, no, that's not the answer. We go to the functional medicine doc. They throw me on 45 different supplements for $12,000 and say, hey, this will solve everything. And nothing worked. And it wasn't until I did all the testing, started to look at the technology, started to look at the data that I had once used for myself, but now was just using on my athletes. And I looked at it and all of my numbers were off. Like they were terrible. And it prompted me to go look a little bit deeper. And they found 4 precancerous polyps in my colon and a precancerous ulcer in my stomach and told I wouldn't see 35. And that's when I realized that just because you look fit on the outside doesn't mean that that's the story that's being told on the inside. Mm-hmm. It's what brought me back to the concept of we're 30 trillion cells deep as individuals. And in order to really thrive, you have to have those 30 trillion cells synergistically working together in a powerful way. And it's only when those cells start to die, not have what they need from a nutrient level, not have the oxygen necessary, that we start to see the degradation of our health from the inside out. And that's just when God just made this moment, hey, stop serving the audience you want to and start serving the audience I called you to, which is my people, the entrepreneurs, the owners, the business owners, the high-performing people, the people who sacrifice their health for their mission. And that's when I stepped away and started to own it back in 2020.
So many questions. Thank you for sharing it. I got to tell you, I think I'm 120 episodes into this, top 20. You're the first guy that came on and said, you were body shamed as a child. And if you're not watching this, if you're listening to this, you got to look up Justin. He's a handsome young guy. How old are you now?
36.
36. So what was the prognosis Canadian? Was that a Canadian doctor told you wouldn't see 35?
No, that was an American doctor.
Ooh, I was about to pick on the Canadian healthcare system. Yeah, my man is in Miami rocking out the what is it? The 81. I forget what Miami. 954 or something.
805. No, 508. 508.
He's down in Miami living the life. Beautiful. You're married, right?
I am. Yes.
Your beautiful wife. I've seen pictures. You're beautiful. Follow Justin at Justin ROETH on Instagram. He's also on LinkedIn. He's also on YouTube. We're going to put all that in the show notes. But Justin is living proof that men get ridiculed as well. I was called Smurf, which I think it's funny today that I'm wearing a blue shirt. I was called Smurf because I was so small. And then it wasn't until I got to college and learned out how to lift that I started adding a mass. And then in the last few years, it's just been insane. And it's no secret. I do I just met you, so I'm going to probably start using you, but I use different doctors to get everything tested. I'm 49 years old and I'm in the best shape I've ever been, but it's also mental.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into more and more of that. And I wanted to say thank you for being vulnerable, and that it's in all the episodes, you're the first guy that said that, and it's vulnerable. And I really appreciate that. So your approach makes health simple, actionable, and personable. Can you explain how Own It Coaching achieves this for its clients?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, Kelly, when you look at the health and wellness space, is I love this space because you have the opportunity to really transform somebody's life, really, really transform somebody's life. But I think what's happened is a lot of the experts, a lot of the Instagram influencers, a lot of the doctors, a lot of the systems have forgotten that you can also really hurt, harm, and hold back somebody's life. When you think about this, somebody with their health has 100 goals. Somebody without it has but one.
Yeah.
And so many times people falsify hope for somebody because they've taken this health thing, convoluted it, distorted the truth to give somebody this false hope of, oh my gosh, that's all I need to do in order to get my health back. That's all I need to do in order to lose weight. That's all I need to do in order to sleep well again. That's all I need to do in order to actually get my energy back. But yet it's not the complete solution. You're looking at your body as a disintegrated approach. And when you see the body as a disintegrated approach, it actually starts to disintegrate the rest of your health. And it goes back to 1909. In 1909, John D. Rockefeller signed something called the Flexnar Report. And the Flexnar Report basically said that anything that saw the body as a holistically integrated being was pseudoscience, and that the body was actually just a bunch of varying little parts put together that can be cut, replaced, or surgically repaired without any type of recourse. And that's the same truth that we're following suit today that's taught to our entire medical system. 1910, they made a $50 million donation to somebody by the name of Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins became Johns Hopkins Medical Center, and that's the gold standard of how we actually treat everyone today. And it still goes off of that same point. And so I say all of this to say, when I started to actually realize that the body is holistic, the body is integrated, the body is one unique miracle, that was how we needed to treat it. That is how we needed to do it. And it wasn't by just showing up as a helicopter solution and all of a sudden doing a test on you, Kelly, and saying, here's your report, there you go, because I can scale that. And now I just market the heck out of it and I win. And some random people who know what they're talking about also might win. No. How do I actually now bring a team around you? A team around you that sees you as a holistic being. Somebody that realizes that mental, physical, spiritual, emotional stress, the body doesn't know the difference. It just keeps the score. Somebody that knows, hey, we need to understand what you're predisposed to at the genetic level, what's actually happening and what's being activated through the epigenetic level, and then looking at your cellular blood work to understand what real time is actually happening. We can now bring a team around you of functional docs, medical docs, registered dietitians, strength coaches, and cognitive behavioral therapists. That's our team of 5 that works with every single one of our clients to make sure that they see you as a holistic being, to understand that what you're thinking, your body experiences, and what you experience, your mind ultimately gets transformed through. And so we have to realize this. And when we start to then put your action plan into place, it's hyper-personalized, it's proactive, it's preventable, and it's performance-driven, not opinion or thought-driven. And at that point is why we can ultimately say that your results that you desire are inevitable when we follow a guided plan that, again, is based upon what you need and nobody else. The last thing that I'll say in that is the big thing that makes us different is on any staff meeting that we start with, we've got a team of 40. We pull them up on Zoom once a month all together. And I say, hey, good morning, everybody. How is it? It's great day at Own It. And I say, what makes Own It different? And everybody responds back, we just love people more. And I think that's, again, this big thing where we started this just out of service. We started this out of building relationship. And I firmly believe that transformation happens through relationship and not through technology. And too often we try to help somebody with their health by being hands off and not being truly integrated into their life. And so again, with our team of 5 that work with each one of our clients, thousands of clients around North America, they truly get to trust one another. They truly get to speak with one another. They truly start to build a relationship with one another that helps them through navigating this and holding them accountable to these things that are actually going to create the change in their life.
Do you know Rachel Shear?
I know the name. I've never met her.
Remind me after the show to connect you guys. You two have got to talk. She was on the show. You guys think exactly alike. I guarantee you there's some great synergies, and she is doing amazing things, and the two of you need to connect. So just don't let me forget. Send me a text. The other thing is guys, what he left out of there is it's extremely affordable. If you go to ownittesting.com, you get started with lab tests that are extremely affordable. This is, but like he said, you have 1,000 problems until you don't have your health, and then you have one. So why not get out in front of this? As you see with me, I'm always getting testing, always getting something done, making sure that I'm going to live to 120. So I do that proactively. So we've been infomercial. Do you want to add anything about pricing at all?
Say that again, Kelly. Sorry.
Do you want to add anything about the cost?
Oh, I mean, so when you talked about ownittesting.com, the biggest thing with the testing that you're going to run there is it's your cellular testing. So a lot of people will see, there's a lot of different brands out there hawking different blood tests right now. Get your blood tested, see what your blood says. There's blood serum testing, and then there's cellular testing. Blood serum testing looks at what's just freely floating through that blood. So you could take a vitamin C tablet. Vitamin C would be very potent in through your bloodstream. If that's why we can't eat before we do a typical serum test. We can't take supplements. They usually ask you to wait at least 24 hours before taking anything if you're getting your serum testing done. But when you look at the serum, it doesn't mean that it's being absorbed and utilized into the cell for the body to use, meaning it doesn't mean it's bioavailable. And so what we're looking at in the cell is actually what vitamins, minerals, amino acids, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant compounds are present in your cell for your body to use at the cellular level. Because again, everything starts at the cellular level. And so the moment we look at this, I can't tell you how many thousands of people have come to us that have given like, man, my blood panels I get from my doc are great. Everything that I did through whatever random testing place I got it done at, or whatever really well-renowned doctor online I got it done through, they all said everything was awesome. But then when we do their cellular testing, we find 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cellular deficiencies, things that their body says they're actually starving for. And when your body is starving for something, it starts to compromise other areas, and that's where cells start to die and disease starts to become present. And so, again, ownittesting.com, you can get started there. $7.99 is kind of where that panel starts. We'll send a phlebotomist right to your home, right to your office, right to your work, right to your plane, right to your boat, wherever you want to get it done. And then you'll sit with our team, and they'll literally give you that action plan as to what that looks like in order to take action off of that, and then see what it looks like to work with us further. Or you can take it and run with it.
How long are the programs? Are there? I mean, I'm sure they can work with you for life, but how long until somebody? I get the blood test. It comes back to cellular test. Everything comes back, and you say, okay, this is what we need to do. I follow the regimen. How long till people start seeing results?
Yeah, so every single plan that's deeper integrated with your entire team that I spoke about is 6 months long, 6 months in duration. And then people typically start seeing some pretty transformational results by about month 3. And after month 6, people have 2 options. They either go into what we call refine, which is kind of like a full a la carte menu. They're like, hey, I want my registered dietitian and functional doc still. I still want somebody looking at all of my wearable information and building all of my planning off of that. I still want the testing every 6 months, but I don't need my mental performance coach anymore. I don't need my strength coach anymore, and I just want to roll that way. Cool. And then, so it's literally a la carte after that. And it's why we have a retention rate of about 85%, which is really powerful, because we just continue to do life with people.
Sorry, is there anybody that should not apply? Like, is it, if I'm sitting here and I just never exercise, and is there a disqualification?
So disqualification is not based off of anything in your past. I always like to say that anybody can redeem, restore, and reclaim their health as long as you have the desire to do so. The person that should not apply for this is the person who wants the magic pill. Is the person
go take Ozempic, guys?
Yeah, exactly. The person who's like, hey, I want to. Somebody else told me that I could just take a pill and I could be really great, or somebody else told me that I could take this supplement and I'd lose all this weight, or somebody told me I could do this diet and I'd be the healthiest person alive. If that's what you're looking for, then that's not for you. If you're looking for a full health transformation, and in order to like truly be educated, equipped, and empowered in this magical miracle that you live in, and be able to understand it from the inside out, and be proactive and preventable in making sure that you have like a performance-driven body and mind, so that you can help people, impact people, and ultimately carry out your calling in a bigger way for longer, then that's the person that we're looking for. And that's the person who truly thrives within the program. And quite frankly, that's why I would argue that we have the best community in North America when it comes to, we say we have the healthiest, wealthiest community in North America, simply because that's the avatar, that's the person, that's the heart of the people that we serve.
Well, they look anything like you, they'll be handsome and beautiful. So we're going to get into your book, The Power of Ownership. But I want to ask, I went there with the Ozempic because it drives me nuts. I've had doctor after doctor after doctor to sit here. I just finished the book, The Real Anthony Fauci, and it's like, I don't trust any of these drugs. So how often are you seeing people come in that said, I took Ozempic and I don't feel great, and you guys transform them? Are you seeing a lot of that? Or is it, since it's still so new, what's your experience with this miracle weight loss? It's supposed to be a diabetic drug, but it's been a weight loss thing.
Yeah, Kelly, I'm going to go to a couple places that might ruffle some feathers for people.
Ruffle them, baby.
But so we see a lot of people come to us who have tried Ozempic, who have done Ozempic. We've seen a lot of people come to us who are on testosterone, or who have tried to utilize testosterone in some other way. We've got a lot of females who come to us that have done some type of hormone therapies because of the early onset perimenopause or something of that nature. And when we start to come back to this, it goes back again to the medical system and what the health and wellness space has really become. Because at the end of the day, you see all of these health and longevity clinics popping up. They'll say, hey, we run a health and performance clinic, or a health and longevity clinic. And really what they do is they take your blood and then they put you on a testosterone hormone replacement therapy program.
By the way, I just want to stop you for 2 seconds. I have done that 7,000 times. Like, I call clinics that want me to represent them, and I say, do you prescribe the same cocktail for everybody? What do you mean? I says, are you, no matter what the test says, are you going to give me testosterone, DECA, B12, and whatever the other
peptides,
or, whatever? Is that what you're going to do? No, it's always highly individual. And then afterward, same damn thing. I go, guys, don't waste your. Now that works. It does work for some people. It is highly unhealthy. It is hard on your liver, hard on your body. So this is where Justin's program comes in from the cellular level and gets you whole body health and longevity. So that's a question I ask everybody. Do all your patients get the same prescription? And they're going to, no, it's hard, but just prove it to me. So sorry to interrupt, because I've had that happen 1,000 times.
No, it's beautiful. I love the statement, because again, when we come back to it, I'm not saying that people don't go in and have low testosterone, or I'm not saying people don't go in and females are actually having massive issues with their hormones and their different cycles and things that they're going through. I'm not saying that this doesn't happen. But the thing is that your body's doing this because of something that's not right. And something that's not right is happening at the cellular level. And so what they're saying is, how do I treat low testosterone? Well, here's some testosterone therapy. Here's some hormone replacement therapy. That's how I'm going to solve the problem. That's how I'm going to treat it. But you're not actually getting down to the cellular level and what's happening, because ultimately, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, any hormone is an end of the road product. There's like 4,000 processes that happen in order for it to occur at the end of the day. But fundamentally, at the foundation of every single process product that happens in the body, it starts and is ignited with vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. They are responsible for all 100% of every single process that happens in the body. So if you're having a hard time losing weight, if you're just retaining weight, it's a cellular issue. It means that your body doesn't have what it needs. Is it doesn't have the oxygen? Is that it doesn't have the nutrients? And your body's under chronic stress. And thus, because it's in a chronic stress state, it's going to be, man, I have to hold on to the weight to make sure that we actually can protect the organs and everything that's going on. It's a protective mechanism. You have low testosterone. It's probably because there's a low level of vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin K,
Hold
iron,
on.
folate.
Justin, are you saying that literally, I'm hearing eat, sleep, and exercise? Are you saying that's literally the cocktail that and then when you're just going to hone in on, hey, it looks like when you're sleeping, you're not getting, is that what I'm hearing?
So yes and no. Those are
and a whole bunch more.
So those are the core compounds. When we come back to it, there's even when we start to think about eat, sleep, and exercise, right? So what are we eating? It's not about, yes, macros have a play in it, but I want to know like ingredients. And when I say ingredients, people are going to start to laugh. They're like, oh yeah, for sure. But when you start to look at what you put into your body, there's 45 and I'm not picking on you, but if that's even an energy drink in front of you, you look at the ingredients list, I guarantee you there's probably 15 plus ingredients in that thing, 14 that you probably can't even pronounce, and 14 that you probably can't even pronounce, and they're fortified with fake vitamins just because that's how they're trying to sell it. And the only ingredient you actually know in there is carbonated water.
Yeah,
and so
it's so funny. And you'll see who it is. It's so a big name. Yeah. It's our boy, Andy. So, we get it. They get it. They send it to me for free. So it's like,
I get it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, when we start looking at the ingredients we're putting into our body at the cellular level has to ultimately filter what we're putting in. And so we've been taught to count calories and not look at ingredients. And because of that, ingredients continually start to cost us at the cellular level an issue. Now, our body was built to be able to flush a lot of those things that are going in there, but it's the compounding effect where it's at lunch, it's at dinner, it's at snacks, it's at our supplements, it's the protein powder, it's everything that we're just inundated with toxins in our body that we can't clear. And then we start to see a lot of these things start to happen. And so going back to like the solution, when we start to look at your DNA epigenetic information, what you're predisposed to, then start to look at cellular testing and understand what we're actually missing in real time, that's when our medical team actually custom compounds a formula for you, a single product that's based around what you're deficient in. And then we build your nutritional guidance around foods that are highly potent in what you're deficient in, along with the coenzymes and cofactors to actually absorb it. Then we're looking at not just how do we actually optimize your sleep quantity, but how do we get the sleep quality? So what routines do we have to do at night? What routines do we have to do in the morning? And the wearable information that we're tracking either validates the direction we're going or redirects us. And then from a exercise and training standpoint, being able to look at, okay, we're not just randomly lifting now. We're not just randomly running or doing cardio. It's specifically programmed based off of VO2 max, based off of heart rate zoning, based off of looking at how our resting heart rate and max heart rate start to interact based upon what we're doing. And so it's so highly data driven that it's impossible that we don't see the results, because we start to automatically increase cellular health. And when cellular health improves, God created us to thrive through optimal cellular health. And that's what we're really doing, is restoring, reclaiming, and redeeming cellular health in people in a hyper-personalized and proactive way.
I love all this. And we're getting technical, I got several questions that are going to really personalize this for the listeners, make it easy. I keep hearing own it
And it sounds like you guys own it and make it easy, simple for the end user. That's what we all want. It's like, I don't need to know all this technical mumbo jumbo. Just tell me what I need to do. Let me follow the regimen and provide results. That's all that we want in this world. And anything, you buy a house, you want the realtor to be able to close and make sure everything's fine. You come to me for IT. You want to make sure you don't get any ransomware. You come to me for coaching. You want to make your life better. It's just so simple, and it sounds like it's what you're doing. I just want to clarify something. When you said you put together a compound, a concoction, I don't remember what the word you use. I apologize, but is that a pill or a powder?
So again, it depends on what you prefer. We can do either or, and so
Get
it's
the hell out of here.
It's literally a custom compounded product that's based around your deficiencies, and whether you want it in a powder form, because, hey, I'm going to mix it with my shake in the morning. Cool. We can do that. Or if you're like, hey, I just want it in a pill form, we can do that too. So it's really just completely dependent upon what you prefer.
I got to come down and hang out with you. We're going to spend more time together. We're going to optimize me even more. So maybe I'll live to 140.
There we go.
In your book, Power of Ownership, you talk about redeeming health and living life by design. What does ownership mean to you? We just talked a little bit about it, because I think truthfully, if people were owning their lives, they wouldn't need you. So it's almost like they're handing ownership to you, but you've never been told that, which is what we all need. But what can people do to take the first step after you define the ownership for them?
Yeah, so I actually define ownership as the intersection point between accountability and responsibility. So we all know those people who are willing to take responsibility for everything. You know what? I completely, it was my fault that I didn't get my workout done. You know what? It was my fault that I forgot my supplements. It was my fault. They're more than willing to take responsibility. But the problem is they're not willing to have accountability in their life. They're not willing to have the coach. They're not willing to have the mentor. They're not willing to have the person who's looking at the data. They're not willing to invest in themselves. And so they stay in this space of, oh, my fault, but they stay in the same place. Conversely, we know that the people that are willing to take full accountability, but then don't want to take responsibility. They hire the coach, they hire the community, they get into the space, they do the thing, they get in the room, but then there's always an excuse. Oh, you know what? Dog died. Oh, you know what? Gym's closed. You know what? Really busy right now. Really busy. Wasn't really able to take optimal advantage of the program that I just paid for. It's only when you have the intersection point of responsibility and accountability that come together that you ultimately get extreme ownership. And once you have extreme ownership, my gosh, I'll tell you, your life transforms fast. Your life transforms quickly because you start to act intentionally and consistently. And when you act consistently and intentionally over the course of time, the outcome that you desire is inevitable. The world has taught us to base our confidence and to base what we see ourselves as based on the results and the outcomes that we get, instead of focusing on the process, focusing on looking at, hey, how can I be more intentional? The only way to be intentional is by looking at data, by having information that guides you. It's why we have your DNA testing, your epigenetic testing, your cellular testing, your hormone paneling, so that we can get so specific to you, Kelly, that it's no longer based on my feelings or emotions of what I think we should do. But no, I just took Kelly's blueprint and I'm looking at it. And now we're going to put an action guide together that now we're going to hold him accountable to so he can be consistent with it. And intentionality with consistency over time creates inevitable results. Like it's too easy. But here's the thing. In order to build that, it takes somebody that cares. It takes somebody that loves on you. It takes somebody that really wants to do the work. And a lot of business owners, a lot of people in this health and wellness space, they don't care enough. They don't want to do the work, and they can't scale that fast enough to be worth it for them. And that's really, again, what separated us and what's changed us is coming back to just loving you more. And so when we can get really intentional with the data that we use, both from your wearable on a day-to-day basis, as well as the testing, we can create plans that ultimately we can hold you super consistent to. And that's how the outcomes become inevitable. And that's what ownership's all about.
For those of you that aren't watching this, I mean, I was just going to comment, like, you can see this man's passion and love. I can see his eyes. So he just is so fired up about this. He keeps repeating that he loves it, and you can see it. I can see it. You light up and you're doing great work. So I trust you. I believe in you. You're absolutely harder than life backed. Again, is the recommended first step just go to ownittesting.com? That's the first step people should do. Or should they look in the mirror and say, I'm ready?
Yeah, I always say I never want somebody to spend money that they're going to regret. I never want them to spend money that they're going to be like, I did this thing. It didn't really work out for me. And I want you to go and look in the mirror. I want you to say, am I super happy with how I'm feeling? Am I super excited about waking up in the morning? Do I wake up and look in the mirror and go, man, this guy or this girl is on fire, doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. The reason that God put me on this earth, man, I am thriving in that. You know what? I'm crushing all aspects, and I feel like I'm this person that's actually making an impact. Or is it, I've really just been living a life of compromise for a long time. I've really just been disguising and tricking myself that I'm doing the work necessary. And if I'm really honest, I'm just getting by. Am I really doing the things as well as I say I am, or have I been lying to myself for a long time? And when you look in the mirror and you can really get honest with yourself, you can really get honest with yourself and say, man, I know there's so much more potential there. That's when I want you to take a different action, because I want all you listeners, just like I'm speaking to you listeners right now. God put you on this earth for a reason. And you may not feel like you're living up to that potential right now. You may feel like you're falling short. You may feel like you've lost your chance. You may feel like you've even lost your mark. But I want you to know that the fire and the burn that he created inside of you, it never goes out. It might just be a flicker. It might be a little glowing ember. But man, let's blow some oxygen on that thing. Let's start to actually speak life into you, that you were created for a purpose, a specific reason. And that purpose and specific reason is somebody else's miracle. And they're just waiting for you to look in the mirror and make a different decision and say, hey, I have to do something different so that I can step in and be more impactful and ultimately do something greater so that I can become the version of me that's actually required to get the blessing so I can go and serve and bless others. That's what I want you to know exists in you. That's what I want you to know is there. That's what I want you to know is ultimately just waiting for you to make that decision. And once you look in the mirror and once you make that decision, that's when I want you to go to ownittesting.com. And that's when I want you to start that journey. That's when I want you to go about that so that you can then sit with our team and be able to say, hey, what is the best journey for you? What season of life are you in? What is your mission? What are your actual God-given callings? What is it that you want to see different in your life today or different in your life tomorrow than you're actually experiencing today? That's when I want you to do it. And even at that point, if you're like, hey, Justin, I still don't trust you enough. I still don't trust Own It enough. I'm still not sure if I want to vote with my credit card. Great. Go to ownitcoaching.com and book a call that's free just with the team to be able to sit down with you and go, man, Kelly, great to see you. We've been expecting you. Tell me a little bit about what you want to see differently. Tell me about you. Tell me about what you're going through. Tell me about what you're feeling. Tell me what you would love to see 6 months from now. And let's see if we can figure out something that can work for you.
So I'm going to personalize that. When I wasn't living a life alignment, pre-harder than life, I'd look in the mirror and I was still in good shape, had a six-pack, making lots of money. But I could look in the mirror and I'd see blotchy skin. I was puffy and bloated. And I was living a life out of alignment. And then I found someone pre-Justin and made a bunch of changes in my life. And now I wake up every single morning and I walk in the mirror. First thing I do in the morning is high five myself in the mirror and say, I love you. And I do. I love myself for making all these changes. And I did all of this and I love it. We're going to be long friends, but the proof is in the pudding. So I think it was Roy Vaden that just said, people buy on testimonials. They don't give a crap about anything else. Show me that you've done this or somebody else. So you've transformed the health of hundreds of thousands of leaders. Can you share a success story that highlights the impact of your methods?
Oh man, I'll give this one example because it literally is just so fresh in my mind. Had this guy come down about 2 weeks ago, and when he came to us, he had just been given a sleep apnea machine. He had just been told that he was going to have to be wearing that his entire life, that you never grow out of sleep apnea. You can't make your way out of sleep apnea. He was utilizing testosterone pellets once every 2 weeks, I think he was going in, or testosterone shots, pardon me. And then every 6 months, he was doing testosterone pellets. And he had high cholesterol. His doctors wanted to put him on a statin. He wasn't sure if he wanted to do that yet. And that's when he came in to own it. And so when we came through, we did his VO2 max testing. We did his cellular testing, 15 plus cellular deficiencies. VO2 max was, for a male, was 42. Just for kind of people to know, as a base level, that should be about 45 or higher. And all of his other numbers were out of alignment. We started to do some really great work with him over the course of about a year and a half.
Wait, can I ask you a question, a personal question?
Yeah.
What was his BMI? What was his weight? Was that a factor with the sleep apnea?
So to be honest with you, this guy came in at probably 16, 17% body fat. He was not, he was not overweight. He was not obese. He was a guy
yet they still gave him sleep apnea. Interesting.
He did a sleep study, and they said that 31 times throughout the night that he struggled to get air, struggled to get oxygen. And so it was wild. So anyways, fast forward a year and a half of, again, extreme accountability, hyper-personalization, all of these different things. We brought him down, and we did his VO2 max testing 2 weeks ago. VO2 max 67. So 67. So just for the people to know and think about and understand, it's VO2 max is how well you utilize oxygen. Elite Olympic athletes have VO2 maxes of 70 plus. And so this guy now has an amazing oxygen ability to utilize it in through his body. Cellular deficiencies down to 2. Body fat, 12%. And that's on a DEXA scan. Okay. DEXA scan's highly accurate. It's like the gold standard. If we were to do, because it looks at both the visceral, so fat on your organs, as well as the subcutaneous fat, looks at bone densities, all these different things. Sleep quality improved exponentially. And I sat there and I said, hey, I want you over the next week to stop wearing your sleep apnea machine. And I want you to go about this another way. He'd stopped using testosterone about 8 months prior. He goes, my energy level's better than ever. He's no longer looking at using statins. He's off of those. And when we actually had him go and do this little self-study, his sleep quality improved another 10% when he took off the sleep apnea machine. And he just went back and he just did another sleep study at a different clinic because the other clinic wouldn't even take him back. They said, no, you've got sleep apnea for life. This is never going away. He went and he walked in, got his sleep study done. They came back. They said, why did you feel like you needed a sleep study? And he goes, no specific reason. I was just asking. They said, or he goes, what's my results? He goes, bro, you're great. No issues, nothing needed. And so I say all of that. And in a year and a half, this guy went from using testosterone, went from almost being put on statins, being given a sleep apnea machine, a CPAP, to now needing none of these things, thriving and feeling better than he ever has before. And it's incredible, because if you would have looked at the guy previously, you'd be like, guy's in shape, guy's fit, guy looks like he kind of goes to the gym, but he knew inside that there was a copious amount of untapped potential, a copious amount of things happening. Is there any
personal or financial gains that you can share? Like, meaning, did he get better with his wife or get a better relationship, and then he make more money? What were the collateral things by becoming healthy? Can you share any of that, or do you know?
I mean, for him specifically, I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
I can tell you, here's the cool thing. So we had a mastermind come to us. It's a passive income mastermind come to us about three months ago. And we're starting with them in January. There's going to be 100 men that are going to come through and do our program over from January 2025 through to December 2025.
Ooh.
And what we are doing, this is going to be so cool, is Own It is handling their entire health and performance coaching and guiding them through this. While at the same time, they're going to be tracking the improvements and increase in passive income that's created over the course of the year and how much better financially they do correlated with their improvements in health. And this is something I'll come back on with you, or I'll give you the results after this is done. But I can already tell you what's going to happen is the people that start to sleep better, people that start to feel better, the people that are all of a sudden have all this energy, the confidence, the things from a holistic and integrated health standpoint, the people that improve there are going to see the exponential increase in passive income as well as overall wealth in such a bigger way. And so I can't wait to do it.
1,000 times. Health and happiness will make you money more than anything. But if the reverse is not true, being rich won't make you healthy and won't make you happy. But we're way into this. I got a couple more health related questions. I want some personal questions so people understand who you are, because I want to get to know you, and I got to get closer to you. So what are the most common misconceptions or mistakes that people make when trying to optimize their health and performance?
The biggest thing is they don't ask the hard questions, to be honest with you. It comes back to, hey, I want to optimize. And when you think of optimize, it goes back to what we typically talked about. Your peptides, your hormone therapies, your testosterones, your supplementation. And these are that's the only way you optimize. Where your actual big rocks, the actual things that create the powerful change is understanding your body at the cellular level. We have to remember that our bodies are just 30 trillion cells, all synergistically working together. And if you're not right inside, just adding a mask to it will not do anything. It's like if your house had a hole in the roof, and somebody said, oh, dude, I'll fix that hole in the roof. Very easy. Here's a blanket. And then you throw a blanket over it. You put 25 nails in and around it. Well, when it rains, it's still going to leak. It's like not until you go in and you repair what's happening in that structure that all of a sudden you get the results that you actually thought you wanted, the ones you thought you were paying for. And so asking the right questions and coming back and making sure that you have that. The second thing is they think they can do it themselves. People are more than happy to invest in a business coach. They're more than happy to invest in a financial coach. They're more than happy to invest in something that is going to make them money. When it comes to their health, they're like, oh no, I should be able to know this because I live in my own body. I know this because I've got all of this information around me. But being able to dissect it and know what's truth and what is not, to know what's actually going to help them versus what's going to hold them back is very difficult. And so the way we time collapse is we don't go at this alone, and we go at it with a team.
I think you're being modest. I'm going to tell you what the number one mistake is, or misconception. It's listening to your friends or listening to your doctor, and asking better questions from different people. And then just literally paying attention to results. Yeah. You know, I people going back and doing the same thing over and over again, a year and a half, 2 years, and you go to the same trainer, you're getting heavier. That's insane. So ask people that are actually doing it, and then listen to them. I know how many times people say that I'm crazy for working out 7 days a week. Like, I'm not telling you to work out 7 days a week. I'm just telling you I work out 7 days a week. Works for me. Yeah. But don't tell me I'm crazy and you're working out zero. So that's one of my biggest things. So pay attention to what doctors you're listening to. Even if it's your longtime family doctor, they aren't experts at this specific thing. They're prescribing medications. That's their pill dispensers. Come to people like Own It. Come to people like Justin who care, who love you. You'll get the data that you need. Justin, two more business questions, and then we're going to get into some fun ones. So stay with me, audience. You've written 3 USA Today best-selling books. Which one do you feel resonates most with your audience and why?
The Power of Ownership. Redeem your health, live life by design, and break the relentless pursuit of normal. This book, it was so much fun to write. It was something that as I was writing it, everything kind of just flowed together. To be honest, I'll tell this quick story. So as I was finishing writing this book, I had an editorial deadline about 6 days away. I had just finished the manuscript. I was so excited. I've been working on this thing for 3-4 months. And I went to bed that night and I didn't hit submit on the manuscript. I wanted to just think on it. My wife and I, we celebrated a little bit. And in the middle of the night, I got this like overwhelming feeling like, that's not the book I told you to write. And I was like, nah, like that can't be right. Like I've been working on this for too long. Like, why now? And so I woke up in the morning and I said, if I get that same feeling by the end of the night and it kind of goes away, I'm going to submit it anyways. Well, all day long, I just had this deep conviction of like, that's not the book I told you to write. That's not the book I told you to write. And at 11 o'clock that following night, I had this download and I was like the mad scientist. I printed off the book. I started cutting, pasting, scratching things out, putting little sticky notes everywhere. And for 4 days straight, I just had this massive flow and a download and just wrote everything that kind of came through to me. I call myself a writer, not an author, because I just wrote down what it was that came through me. And it's been so cool just to see the audience's response to the book. And just hearing the feedback and just how it's serving people in such a powerful way. So hands down, The Power of Ownership, Redeem Your Health, Live Life by Design, and Break the Relentless Pursuit of Normal is definitely number one on that list.
Yeah, I apologize. Normally I've read everyone's book. We came together so fast to bring this episode together. I got a stack of books that I'm reading. I will get it done and we'll have it before the next time I have you, because I want to hear that study. One more business question. And then we're going to switch to some fun stuff. And I want to know a little bit personal about you. So how you talked about it, the Own It show podcast. It's you host it weekly. And what do you hope your listeners take away from your episodes?
That's a great question. I've never actually been asked that question before. Really great question. So the goal with the Own It show is to empower, equip, and educate you on how to take ownership of your health. Really give you the no BS answers and ask a lot of our guests. Like we bring on a lot of docs, a lot of experts, a lot of health experts, a lot of influencers that you'll know. And we ask them the hard questions. We put them on the spot. And so we get the truth to you as the audience, as the listeners. And so it's all about educating, equipping, and empowering you to take ownership of your health.
Educating, equipping, and empower. That's good stuff. That's real good. Real quick, we didn't even ask why. I just jumped right in like the audience knew you. Tell me a little bit about you. How long you been married, and do you have kids? And
yeah, so no kids. I live in Miami with my wife. My wife and I have been together for 8 years. We've been married for 3, and we did 2 years of long distance between Southern California and New York City. When we were first dating, it was she was the executive vice president of Christian Louboutin, and that was the time that I was in the American Hockey League in the NHL as a strength coach, performance coach, and that was really kind of the start of our relationship. So it's been really cool now to be fully integrated, where she's the CEO of our company actually. And
awesome.
And so she's just an absolute rock star in creating systems and processes and helping build team and culture and structure. And so she's really the backbone of that. And so it's so cool just to see kind of that full circle moment where now we just get to really impact people together.
Make sure she watches this. Your eyes lit up when I asked about her. It's beautiful. I can't believe you're in LA, New York, and then you settled in Miami. So I'm going to come down to Miami. We'll hang out. I'd love to hear more about this. This is great. Let's switch into some more personal stuff. You've coached some of the top athletes in the world. So I'm going to ask you to be honest. How competitive are you in everyday life? And do you want to win at everything? That's how I am. But are you the same way?
So if this gives anybody like just an idea, is I'm running a 100-mile race on January 11th. I compete. I guess I would say professionally, because I run on their pro circuit for the High Rocks games. If anybody has heard of High Rocks, it's an extreme hybrid race that involves strength, power, and conditioning. But look it up. It's High Rocks. So I run on their pro circuit. So when you ask how competitive I am, extremely. And
100-mile race. The only person I've ever known that does this is freaking Goggins. So where's that going to be?
So again, it's in Miami, and it's not an official race. It's something that I'm just doing myself. I've got 25 people that I've invited to come and run it with me. And again, this isn't about me. This is a part of like just my journey and just continuing to develop myself. For a long time, I put my athletic performance, I put my physical performance, I put my results and the things that I would do in the world as like my identity, as if I was good enough or not. And this race, or this 100 miles, is actually something of just like dying to myself in that way, where it has nothing to do about me for the 100 miles, but we're running 400 laps of a track, and every lap of the track will be dedicated to somebody. I've collected 400 prayers that I'm going to say for 400 different people. And so that's really kind of that component. And I've got a bunch of people that are going to run different portions of it with me. And so to say I'm competitive is probably a little bit of an understatement.
You just went up like 1,000 rungs. You were already up high in my respect list, but that's 400 laps with 400 prayers. I'm going to pray for you.
Thank you.
But I got to get some more around you more. So let's ask you another funny one. If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life without it affecting your health, what would it be?
I have an answer that I get really excited about, and it's like I didn't even have to think about it. As soon as you said it was there.
Pizza.
It's not a fun one, but for me, it's smoothies. Like if I could smoothies, like if I was just a smoothie guy for the rest of my life, like I'm in. I'm the guy that like 4 smoothies a day, like that's nothing. Like I'm in. Like the fruit, the bananas, that they're super thick too. So like when you turn it upside down, like that thing's not coming out. Like you suck it through a straw and like your cheeks get sore. Like that is my type of smoothie.
So you must be in South Beach, because where's Pure Vita down there? Are you right near there? Because last time I was there, I went there. I'm like, these smoothies are amazing.
They're incredible. They are so good. Yes, there's a Pure Vita about 6 minutes from me.
All right. Between running a 7-figure company and writing books, how do you unwind? And don't just say exercise. Give me some guilty pleasure.
Yeah, so I'm a big sauna guy. I spend a lot of time in the sauna, a ton of time in the sauna. I love, my wife and I love to get out on the water. So we'll go boating often. Love to paddleboard. In 2025, I've got I'm still trying to figure out how to plan it appropriately, but I've got a group of 5 of us that are going to paddleboard from the southern tip of Miami to the Bahamas. So again,
okay, you're
competitive,
crazy.
like stupid things like just the guys would do. But that's kind of how I unwind is.
Please tell me you're a power boater and not a sailboater.
Oh, power boater.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that. When I have a house on the other side of Florida, and when I get on my boat, it's like, so back in the day when I would always go to therapy, that was what my therapist would tell me to. Whenever I get worked up, he'd say, "Where's your happy place?" And I would always say, "My boat." He'd say, "Imagine you're there." And when I get on the boat, and I do have one guilty pleasure, it's cigars. I have a cigar in my hand, on my boat, and the wind is blowing, and I'm on the ocean. I love the ocean. That salt smell, and your world is your oyster at that point, and there's nothing more relaxing. I also like a sauna. You and I are like brothers from another mother. So we're up against it. I want to ask you, is there anything I haven't asked you that you feel compelled to share? Guys, go to his website. Everything will be in the show notes. Any final thoughts?
Just the biggest thing I want to tell people is I don't care where you are right now. I don't care where you are listening to this. I don't care what you've done in the past, what you've struggled with, what's kind of come your way. There's a calling on your life. There's a calling for you to do great things. There's a calling for you to have a major impact on somebody's life. And for you to step up and take ownership of your health is the least selfish thing that you could do, to make sure that you're there for your business, that you're there for your team, that you're there for your family, that you're there for your children. And it's something that is going to have an eternal effect, because your kids are all their habits that they do eventually become things that they catch, not things that they're taught. And if we can ultimately step in and intervene in our health in a proactive way, it's only going to maximize the impact that you can have on a day-to-day basis, because you're called for great things.
I'm going to change the name of your company to Own Life. Forget Own It. Own Life, because it's freaking fabulous. Look at this dude winning massively. You've got a new friend in me, bro. I can't wait to get down there and rock the boat with you and the wife. I'm in Miami all the time. I'm on the other side. If you're ever on the West Coast, Naples, hit me up. We'll take you boating. Then we'll come over your side of town. You got a new friend of me. Thank you for reaching back out and making this happen and making yourself available. Guys, follow him. He's a badass. Thanks for playing.
Thanks so much, Kelly.
Please rate and share this podcast. I'm active on all social platforms and love to hear from my Siegel supporters. Each and every episode is sponsored by my company, National Technology Management, the easiest and best IT company to do business with, delivering peace of mind with technology every day, even simplifying cybersecurity. Visit trustntm.com for more info. Until next week, be harder than life.